Well, just as we predicted, homelessness continues to worsen. You're looking at an aerial photo of some hills right off the freeway here in San Diego, where homeless people are now setting up camp. And it's gotten worse in many different areas and across the nation. We're going to talk about the trend of increasing homelessness today. And here's the really scary part. We have not even gotten to the end of the federal eviction ban yet that expires at the end of the month. How much worse is it going to get at that point? And we've already seen it get worse, even with a so-called eviction ban in place. Photos like this right here of the hills in San Diego. Well, let's take a look at some recent information. This is kind of disturbing. I don't like to report this, but when you're driving down the freeway and you see a new batch of tents that you didn't see before, it's pretty disheartening, to say the least. Now, personally, I wouldn't be able to give you a better visual of this than what's being presented here in this news article. This is out of CBS8.com. Take a look at this hillside
And I'm guessing
over
25
the freeway
or 30
here
people there.
in San Diego. And it's not just California. It's not just a California thing. Costs are rising everywhere. And we're seeing devastation throughout the economy with job losses. And a lot of the jobs that are available don't pay enough to meet the cost of living. So a lot of people are just choosing to sit it out, wait on the sidelines. It's one of the reasons why you see so many job openings now and labor shortages. I think people are getting to the end of the rope. They're discouraged, and they know that these entry-level service sector jobs are not going to help them keep a roof over their head. Even places like Delaware, here's a recent article, 35% increase in homeless just over the past year. When you think of Delaware, you don't think of bubble home prices, but the cost of living is hitting everywhere. And the current policymakers right now, they are just bent on keeping these bubbles inflated. They don't want to allow deflation. They don't want to allow the cost of living to correct, to match what people can actually afford to pay. It's going to be more stimulus, more bank propping, more liquidity injections, more hands-on via the money printers. And doesn't anyone wonder why the world's so-called the world's richest nation, 30 trillion in debt, over 200 trillion unfunded liabilities, why the world's so-called richest nation has surging homelessness? Right? Many people say, well, they're all alcoholics. They can't keep a roof over their head. So there's been a 35% surge in alcoholism in Delaware just in the past year. No, I think it's much bigger than that. Right? But the United States, we should have the best healthcare facilities. Everyone should have healthcare if we're the world's richest nation. Are we really the world's richest nation? Or are we just the best at running up debt and wasting money? Even as a country, look at all the money we've wasted, trillions in overseas and occupations in foreign countries. In the name of so-called security and keeping us safe, are we really that much safer? Well, we see crime rising in many major cities now. In most of the major cities, actually, crime is rising. So are we really safer, or are we less safe because of these reckless policies? All right, another recent article here. This is out of Arizona, ABC15.com. Why is homelessness rising in the valley? All right, and there's a story out of this article of a father who has recently spent the last of his money living with his 4 children at a Phoenix motel. And it's gotten so bad in Phoenix now, according to this article, the number of unsheltered homeless people now outnumbers those that are in shelters. So it was an increase of 579 just year over year from 2019 to 2020. And it's only going to get worse. Recent article, Boston Herald. Increase in homelessness and need for rental assistance expected with the end of the eviction moratorium. So what's going to happen to make things better? Right, a lot of people are under this illusion that there's an economic recovery, that everything's going to get better. Well, it may get better for the multinational corporations, for the CEOs. $50 million bonus for Jamie Dimon here recently. But does that mean the economy is doing better for most people? No. Look at what's happening. Everything's getting worse, but they're telling you the economy is getting better. And no, it's not all drug addicts and alcoholics. I know it's easy to think that because a lot of people living on the streets, they look pretty messed up. But what would you do if you're forced to live on the street? Would you be looking your best? Or would you be picking up the bottle to try to mask the pain? I know I would probably end up looking like a lot of the people that you might see in some of these pictures, and some of these people that you might see on the side of the roads in these tents. And now in San Diego here on the hills, off the freeway. Another article out of Wisconsin, Green Bay Press Gazette.com. Advocates fear a spike in evictions after the moratorium ends July 31st. But help is available. Is there really help available? Is it help that's going to fix the problem of the cost of living is too high? That we have institutions and investment firms buying up single-family homes to rent them back at elevated prices in the name of profit? Get ready, folks. It's going to continue to get uglier. I hope none of you listening today are on the verge of living in a place like this that we've been looking at here in these photos today. But it can happen to anybody. Anyone can get laid off. Anyone can lose a job. Anyone can have an unexpected medical expense. Well, I shouldn't say it could happen to anyone. The top 10%, you're probably pretty safe if you lose your job. You probably won't lose your job if you're in the top 10%. And you probably don't even need a job if you're in the top 10%, honestly. All right, but I've seen many stories of people that were very, very wealthy and successful and then ended up losing it all. So you have to be very, very cautious and smart. Even people with a lot of money, a lot of times, they're very thrifty with their spending. And they don't waste money. So we may look at a lot of these people that are multimillionaires and billionaires and think that they just got there unfairly or that they somehow had an upper hand. And in many cases, yes, that's true. But also look at all the foolish spending and the things that people spend money on. And I'm wondering how many people, maybe some of these people living in this tent here from this photo right here in the past few years, what kind of dumb things that they spent their money on. All right, it's interesting how it seems like the homeless people always have cigarettes and alcohol. So small expenses can kill you over time, or they can bust your budget over time. 2 packs of cigarettes a day and a few cases of beer a week, add that up over a year, you're talking thousands of dollars. Right, now some of these people, they look at the cost of rent and housing and they say there's no chance of paying it, so why not just buy booze nonstop? I can understand how people would fall into that trap and fall into that way of thinking because, again, the cost of living is too high. Nothing's being done to address it. The eviction moratorium is about to expire. Get ready, folks. This country is going to look like a whole different world here. It already does compared to just a few years ago, but it's going to continue to get worse. Keep preparing. Hopefully myself and the people listening to this are going to be well enough prepared to not end up on the streets, not end up on somebody's couch, not end up on a hill off the freeway, etc. Hope you're all doing well. Continue to use caution, prepare, stay safe, keep stacking if you can. Stay well, everybody. Bye for now. Peace.